There are 7 cars that police know about so far on 3 different streets in this area. Now, each time the person that did this took a huge rock like this and threw it right through the back window of that car. Dawn, it's less of what the video shows of what happened to Dan's dogs here. It's more of what you hear in that video. Take a listen. Danielle, they tell me they're concerned. They're concerned with how dry it is in the area and how dry all of this brush is. The only thing that Rebecca Champigny said to the judge was yes, ma'am, after that judge told her the charges that she's facing. That generator is pretty much the same as the one that was already there, with one key safety difference. That filtration system that originally started the fire has been removed. It no longer requires an employee to change it. It eliminates that human error aspect and should prevent a fire like this from happening in the future. Well, this standoff is still very active. I'll let you take a look. Just a couple seconds ago, even, we heard several loud booms, presumably those flashbang distractive devices that the SWAT team uses while they try and make entry into that condo. Now, the person they believe is inside that condo is believed to be the suspect from an officer-involved shooting on Centennial Boulevard a little bit earlier. There, a motorcycle officer tried to make a traffic stop. The driver of that SUV hit the motorcycle officer, and then that officer fired shots at the car, but nobody was hit. That officer was taken to the hospital with minor injuries from the crash itself. They're expected to be okay. Now, like I said, we just talked to a man that saw that all happen. Take a listen.
Guy put his truck in reverse. It looked like a Jeep Cherokee, and backed up over the officer on his motorcycle. Officer jumped off. Guy sped off, and I heard a couple of shots fired.
Now, Centennial Boulevard remains shut down just north of Chuckwagon while police investigate that initial crash. Again, we did just hear several of those loud flashbang devices, but there's no word yet on if the SWAT team has actually been able to go inside, if they've been able to find that suspect, but we're going to stay on scene and bring you any updates just as soon as they happen. For now, reporting live in Colorado Springs, Dustin Cuzick, KKTV 11 News.
Yeah, let's hope they made it in and that everybody's okay. And Dustin, wanted to ask you about this too, because you told us earlier about a school right across the street that was on lockdown, parents coming to pick up their kids. So what's happening with that now?
Well, that's exactly right, and I'll let you take a look. That is Hope Academy. It's a Montessori school just a few hundred feet away from where all this action is happening. Now, they typically close down at 6 o'clock. They were on lockdown most of the afternoon with about 100 kids inside of that building. Almost all of those kids have gone home now. I'm told 1 or 2 kids still inside while they wait on parents to come and pick those kids up. A little unusual from a normal release because they are only releasing kids directly to their parents, and that's why they still have a couple out here. But once those kids go home, everything returns to normal at the school. Things far from normal at the condo complex that you can see behind me there, but we'll let you know what happens out here.
Yeah, please do keep us posted. We'll go back to you if we need to. Dustin Cuzick reporting live. Thanks very much. We're going to give you an update now on our 11 breaking news alerts.
11 News reporter Dustin Cuzick live at the scene of a SWAT standoff in the Springs. So, Dustin, we're told you have some new info.
Yeah, we do have news. We've just learned that they have taken that suspect into custody. This is the suspect from that earlier officer-involved shooting and crash that happened there on Centennial. We've learned just taken into custody. We also just learned that there were 3 other people in that car. All 3 were taken into custody earlier tonight, but again, one person that had been barricaded inside of that condominium was just taken into custody. Centennial Boulevard out here remains shut down while they investigate that initial crash where the driver that had been inside of this condo had used his SUV to strike that motorcycle that the officer was riding. Again, still a lot of information that we are working to get you right now. We're trying to find out who these suspects are. We'll have more for you coming up tonight on 11 News at 10. You're right, it is far from over, and that's because crews say that these 5,000 potholes that they've filled instead of actually fixed is like placing a Band-Aid when our streets need major surgery. 5,332 potholes in just 5 days.
I have not seen that many potholes done in 1 week.
In an already busy pothole season, the city normally has 48 people out filling potholes. Last week, they had almost double, 77 people.
We had some folks doing a lot of hard work out there.
But all that hard work could be in vain. Filled potholes doesn't mean fixed potholes. This is a repaired pothole. Those crumbling edges have been cut away. It's been refilled, packed down, and in some cases even resealed. And this is a filled pothole. It's just been filled up with asphalt and packed down. Those repaired potholes could last for years. The filled potholes could look like this again soon.
There's just so many potholes out there, we couldn't take the time to go ahead and repair them, otherwise we wouldn't have made the impact that we did.
And failing fixes aren't the only problem.
I noticed that for every one they fill up, there's another one or two that come up.
I know they're working hard, but I'm sure it's a process that's going to take a while, and winter's not over yet.
Now, there is some good news. We're starting to get into that warmer weather when the road crews can start doing major road work and repairs to those infrastructure problems that are causing all these potholes in the first place. Well, for utilities customers, it should mean a rate decrease. And for the average family, it's going to be a small one. But for local businesses, it could be some serious savings. That proposed rate decrease should go before City Council in mid-April. And then if it's approved by City Council, would go into effect the 1st of May. Reporting live in Colorado Springs, Dustin Cuzick, KKTV 11 News. Well, Danielle, they tell me they're concerned. They're concerned with how dry it is in the area and how dry all of this brush is. 3 fires, one in Lincoln County.
Overall, it's a quarter of a mile tall by about 100 yards wide.
One near the Pikes Peak International Speedway.
We were seeing flame lengths of about, I think they were saying about 15 feet, and pretty erratic fire behavior.
And one right in Colorado Springs near Platte and Murray. Dry conditions helped all 3 spread.
It's about 7% humidity, so it's it's extremely dry out.
But the causes varied. In Lincoln County, electrical wires were to blame.
Some electrical wires going into the side of a shed and the winds caused a spark.
In El Paso County, target practice might be the cause.
There is some shooting that has gone on down there. And that's what we're looking into right now to see if it might be something that had to do with that.
No matter what started each fire, neighbors were on edge.
It's a scary thought as my husband was trying to get the hay out of the way, and I was trying to get all of our animals. We have 7 head of horses and 4 cow dogs, and so it was scary.
I know the area pretty well. I live right down the road here, and I thought, uh-oh, is that burning towards my house?
That massive pothole that Iris hit on Palmer Park has been fixed by crews, but with so many like it around town, she wants her story to be a warning to others. Iris Hughes and her son hit a massive pothole just a couple of blocks from their house last night.
The tire was bulged and the rim was damaged, and we heard a crack under the car.
This morning, they went to check it out in the daylight, and they were shocked.
It was 41 inches wide and 65 long and 9 inches deep. It was beyond a pothole, in my opinion.
Iris had called and reported the pothole, but was still worried about other drivers.
I had already called the police department, and they said call the city. And so I thought, well, nobody's doing anything.
So she took action into her own hands.
We went to Home Depot and we bought a cone that we came back and we placed in there.
But police say that could have landed Iris in serious trouble. If you leave a cone or a marker in a pothole like this, it's against the law. Most of the time, police are just going to remove it. But if you do end up causing an accident, whether or not you were trying to do the right thing, you could face criminal charges. When Iris went back to check on her cone, the streets crew was already filling the hole.
They were very thankful. They pulled around and they came back, and my husband took the cone that we had purchased, and they thanked him for being safety-minded enough and concerned enough to do something like that to protect other people.
Iris has her cone back and peace of mind, knowing that nobody else will hit that pothole. Now, Iris told me that she's very happy with how quickly crews got out there and repaired that pothole. She's upset, though, that nothing was done in between the time that she reported it and the time that it was fixed to make sure that nobody else hit it. Reporting live in Colorado Springs, Dustin Cuzick, KKTV 11 News. Police say that when a motorcycle officer tried to pull Denartog over, he threw his SUV in reverse and hit that officer's bike with the officer still on it and took off. Charles saw the whole thing happen.
Backed up over the officer on his motorcycle. Officer jumped off, guy sped off, and I heard a couple of shots fired.
Those shots were the officer firing at the fleeing SUV. Police believe Dinartog then ran into a vacant condo. A neighbor saw the man climbing in a window and called police. For hours, the suspect was holed up inside the condo, causing a lockdown at Hope Academy, a Montessori school just a few hundred feet away.
Pretty scary. You don't normally deal with things like this, especially when you're in a preschool and you're in charge of a bunch of children and, making sure that their well-being is okay. It's definitely scary.
After hours of SWAT flashbangs and trying to call the suspect, a police dog was finally used to bring Dinartog out. Police initially said that he had 3 more people in the car. They were caught up with and questioned, but Dinartog was the only one arrested. Now, that motorcycle officer was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Dinartog was also taken to the hospital for injuries he got from that police dog. Now, both are expected to be okay.